In this self-nip bobbly da baba dee ba doo doo. Greetings, listeners all around the world. You're listening to the Uniquilibrium podcast by Hypno Athletics, exercising your mind. I'm your host and guide, Hakeem Alibokas Alexander, and I'll be talking about all things metaphysical, hypnosis, and meditation for relaxation, sleep, lucid dreaming, and beyond. Get ready. Here we go. In this podcast episode, I'm simply going to walk you through how to use Astral Projection 1.0 for an incredible out-of-body experience. So this is just using what I call the balance protocol, BAL, breathe, affirm, listen. There are a very few slight additions or adjustments to using the balance protocol. Before, I had emphasized doing the breathing and affirming and then playing the sound design audio frequency. So the slight change and update to that is that it's not necessary to wait to start listening. You can start listening to the audio track. In this case, the one we're going to be listening to is called Astral Projection 1.0, which was published, I think, a month ago. Let me check that real quick. Yeah, it's called Astral Projection 1.0 for an incredible out-of-body experience gateway. And that audio, I did leave the instructions in the body of that podcast. It's in the specific podcast called Demi-Cerebral Neurophasing, which is what I've dedicated to entering the realm of souls, as I say, leaving the physical body. All right, but it's very simple. Before, you would do the breathing, then the affirmation or the repetition of words, prayer, affirmation, meditation, verbal, so spoken meditation, mantra. There's so many different ways you can call it, and then listen. So I would say breathe, affirm, and listen. In this case, you can start the listening and then do the breathing and affirmations. So you don't have to wait to do the listening. And the reason why I need to give some instructions for these is because I create these things with specific frequencies that there is a matching number of breaths that you'll take and affirmations that you'll say. So in this case, if you're looking at the document on uniquilibrium.com, on the blog that's featured with this podcast, it shows that you're gonna breathe and count 16 breaths, followed by saying and counted the repeated affirmation 7 times. So in this case, you can start playing the audio, and then you'll breathe in and out. Breathe in, breathe out, and then say 1. Breathe in, breathe out. 2. Breathe in, breathe out. 3. Breathe in, breathe out. 4. And of course, doing that all the way up till the number 16. So this one, and I say this specific frequency challenges you to breathe and count 16 breaths, followed by saying and counting a repeated affirmation 7 times. So sometimes when the numbers are that high, it can be a challenge. So that's why I say this frequency challenges you to to do those breaths that amount of times. And then the affirmation. An affirmation is very simple. The affirmation in this case is just saying astral projection. You don't have to say 1.0, just astral projection. You can add slight other things. For example, you can say I'm. You can say astral projection, or I seek astral projection if you want to, but it's really sufficient enough just to say astral projection. That's the intention that you're setting, that's what you want to do, that's the experience you want to have. And so that's as simple as it is. So for example, after you do the 16 breaths, right, you're going to breathe in and out, saying the number 1, 2, 3. After it, remember, you can say this out loud, or you can just say it in your head. And the same thing when you say the affirmation astral projection, you're going to say astral projection 1, astral projection 2, astral projection 3, and this one is up to 7 times. So for this one, the breathing 16 times, 16 breaths and 16 counts, followed by 7 affirmations of astral projection 7 times. And that is as simple as it is. There's, no need to make it any more complicated, but I repeat this about the balance protocol because it's something new that I do not, to my knowledge, no one else is doing, matching frequency with breaths and affirmation when it comes to binaural beats or isochronic tones or anything of this nature, like with hemisync. Hemisync, or hemispheric synchronization, which I owe a lot to modeling my process after, does offer meditations and spoken meditations along with their frequencies. For example, if you listen to the Gateway Experience 1, the first one, it's masterfully created with the frequency. They even set out in there to give you a little bit of a demonstration of how hemisync works, and then proceeds to take you through an amazing meditation, a spoken meditation that helps guide you through the process. So, and that's where my demi-phase comes from, largely influenced by, is hemisync. Hemisync is short for hemispheric synchronization, and my demi-phase is short for demi-cerebral neurophasing, and they mean exactly the same thing. It's just, of course, I'm working to set myself apart. It's my own branding, but there's a lot of things that are similar, but I also have a lot of things that stand apart. And also there's something proprietary about how I create a lot of my frequencies that also, to my knowledge, no one else is doing. So anyway, let's see if there's anything else that I need to do with this. No, let's see, basically we're going to do the breathing, affirming, and listening. Remember, the only difference here is that I'm changing with the balance protocol, or actually updating to the balance protocol, because you can do the breathing, the affirmations, and then start to listen if you want to in that order, or you can simply start the recordings. Most of the ones that I'm doing are 33 minutes long, so you can start the recording and start listening to it, and then while you're listening, do the breathing and the affirmation. And also I'm going to give a little bit more of some more instructions about how to use this. So there's also a best practice, a best ways to do this. Greetings, fellow podcast creators, listeners, and enthusiasts. The other day, when I was listening to one of my favorite podcasts, I discovered that they were distributed on this platform right here. And if you haven't heard of Anchor before, let me tell you,
As someone who's been creating podcasts for at least 6 years, since 2015, I found that Anchor offers the easiest way to get started creating, distributing, and monetizing your podcast. First of all, Anchor is completely free. There's nothing that you have to pay to get started, and you have access to these amazing creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast from your phone or your computer. As a matter of fact, I'm recording this message to you from my phone right now. And if you want to get heard all over the world, Anchor offers a free automatic distribution service. That's right, it's free, and you get distribution in places like Spotify and Apple Podcasts, amongst many others. And what about making money? If you're ready to do that, Anchor makes it super easy too, and they do not require you to have a minimum listenership. So even if one person listens to your podcast, you can still make money. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. So if you're ready, download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor FM to get started. That's ANCHOR.FM to get started creating your podcast now.
Okay, so some of the best ways to do this, I've given instructions before about how to use, binaural beats and audios and things like that on a previous blog. I'll add that link here as well. But it's basically the setup is what you're wanting to do. So you really want to, of course, just get all the materials ready. Like, for example, here you're going to get the audio queued up and ready in your audio player, maybe your mobile phone or your tablet or your computer. You're going to set that up. You're going to get your headphones on, and then you're going to sit down or lie down or recline. Get yourself in a position that's comfortable for you, that's appropriate for the experience you want to have. Of course, if you're listening to one of my frequencies that are made for working and concentration, then maybe you'll be sitting at your desk and working and concentrating. If you're using one for exercise or like building lean muscle, you'll be in the gym with your headphones on listening to the frequency. And for things like helping you, of course, to relax, sleep, lucid dream, and astral project, you will want to be either reclining or lying down while you're listening to it. So that's really all that needs to be done is, number one, get yourself into the best position for the experience you want to have. Cue up the audio that you're going to listen to, right? Get the headphones on, and then, of course, do the breathing, the affirmations, and that's it. So that will conclude this presentation here on how to use Astral Projection 1.0 for an incredible out-of-body experience.
All right, listeners all around the world, thanks for joining me for another adventure with metaphysical hypnosis and meditation. Your continued support is always welcome. And if you're excited about the great offerings here that help you relax, sleep, lucid dream, learn, and beyond, then support the creation of many more metaphysical hypnosis and meditation productions by becoming a monthly contributor. You can support these adventures with a subscription by going to uniquequilibrium.com and simply clicking on the link that says Uniquequilibrium Supporters, and there you will find links that you can support through Anchor, through PayPal, or through Liberapay. You've been listening to the Uniquequilibrium podcast by Hypno Athletics, exercising your mind. My name is Hakeem Ali Bokus Alexander. I'm your host and guide, and I will catch you on the next wave. Stay well.